Hello everyone. Welcome back. Today, we've got some crucial news you don't want to miss. Let's dive right into the top financial headlines and break down what's happening. We're sharing a report from Reuters today, and the headline is, New US jobless claims slip, but people are remaining unemployed for longer. Here's the scoop. This morning, the US Department of Labor released their latest unemployment claims data for the week ending December 21st. The numbers show a slight drop in new unemployment claims, down 1,000 from the previous week, bringing the total to 219,000. Economists had expected it to be around 224,000, so this was better than expected. The takeaway? Even during the holidays, the US labor market is holding strong. Typically, around 220,000 people file for unemployment benefits each month, so this number is in line with the usual trend, nothing crazy, but definitely not bad. However, there's a deeper, more concerning story in the data. The Labor Department also released some structural data that shows it's taking people longer to find new jobs. In November, the average duration of unemployment was 23.7 weeks. This is a big jump from April when it was just under 20 weeks. In the US, it's generally expected that people will find new jobs within about 6 months, so the fact that the average duration is now approaching that 6-month mark is a bit of a red flag. So, while the overall unemployment claim numbers look okay, the longer-term trend is something to watch. We'll get a clearer picture of how the labor market is truly doing when the US Department of Labor releases the November non-farm payrolls report next Friday. This will include not just job numbers, but also wage growth and labor force participation rates, key indicators that will give us a fuller understanding of where the job market stands. If you've been following the US economy for a while, you know how critical jobs are to the overall economic health. No jobs, no economy, it's that simple. So, whether it's the government or Wall Street, everyone's eyes are on the employment data to get a sense of where things are headed. Second major news update, Russia rejects Trump's call for a Ukraine ceasefire but claims it's open to talks. Bloomberg reported today that Russia has rejected President-elect Trump's call for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine. However, Russia did say it's willing to negotiate a long-term peace agreement to end the nearly 3-year-long war. In an online press conference, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov dismissed the idea of a ceasefire, calling it a dead-end road. He argued that Ukraine would use a ceasefire to strengthen its military and emphasized the need for a phased, legally binding agreement. According to Lavrov, such a deal would ensure Russia's security and address the legitimate security interests of neighboring countries. As Russia has made gains on the battlefield and Ukraine finds itself on the defensive, Trump and his advisors have hinted that Vladimir Putin might retain control over about 20% of Ukrainian territory currently held by Russian forces. Ukrainian President Zelensky has also softened his stance, suggesting a willingness to use diplomacy to reclaim lost territory. That said, Moscow has set its conditions. Ukraine must officially abandon its NATO membership aspirations and agree to strict limits on the size of its military. These demands have been largely rejected by Ukraine. Lavrov added, "I hope the Trump administration will focus on the roots of this conflict. As President Putin has stated, we are ready to consider any serious, concrete proposals." Here's my take on this news. As Trump's inauguration approaches, Russia is signaling a more proactive stance in response to his proposals. Lavrov's statement today seems to reflect a strategy of defensive offense by Russia. On one hand, Putin is signaling openness to Trump's mediation efforts. On the other hand, Lavrov is raising the bar for negotiations. He's essentially saying, if you want to mediate, you can't just demand an immediate ceasefire. You need to address the root causes of the conflict, specifically Ukraine's actions that have impacted Russia's security. Russia's key demands include: 1. Ukraine must scale back its military and drop any plans to join NATO. 2. Any mediation must consider Russia's security concerns and frame Ukraine as the instigator. In short, Lavrov's remarks are both a message to Trump and a way to outline Russia's non-negotiable terms. No matter how you look at it, the fact that Russia is even willing to discuss negotiations is a positive sign. It shows there's at least some willingness to explore peace, even if the path forward won't be easy. Third major news update, Azerbaijan plane hit by Russia air defense, Caliber says. According to a report from a government-supported news outlet in Azerbaijan today, an Azerbaijan Airlines plane was hit by a Russian air defense system just before it crashed in Kazakhstan. The plane, a Brazilian-made Embraer SA-190, was attempting an emergency landing near Grozny when it went down, reportedly after being damaged by Russian defense systems. The Azerbaijani news site cited unnamed government officials who claimed the aircraft was attacked by Russia's air defense system as it was approaching Grozny, in Chechnya. At the time, Russia allegedly used electronic warfare to disable the plane's communication systems, leaving it unable to send distress signals. Both Azerbaijan's presidential office and the foreign ministry did not immediately comment on the incident. Similarly, Russia's defense ministry has not responded to requests for comment, and Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov refused to address the issue during a press briefing today. Meanwhile, Russia's state-run media, including International News Agency, reported that all parties should wait for the official investigation results before speculating on the cause of the crash. According to the Azerbaijan state airline, the plane was carrying 62 passengers and 5 crew members on a flight from Baku, Azerbaijan's capital, to Grozny. The flight later changed course for an emergency landing in Kazakhstan, but it crashed around 3 kilometers from the city of Aktau in Kazakhstan. Local authorities have confirmed that rescue teams found 38 bodies at the crash site, though 29 people survived. The Wall Street Journal also covered the incident in detail, suggesting that the plane might have been struck by a Russian missile system. If verified, this would be similar to the downing of Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 in 2014, which was shot down over eastern Ukraine, killing all 298 people aboard. This crash, occurring during the Christmas season, is a tragic event, and public opinion widely believes that Russia may be involved in some way. The investigation will likely reveal more as details emerge. Fourthly, India's GDP growth projected at 6.5% for the year ending in March 2025. According to a recent report from Bloomberg, India's government is expecting the country's GDP growth to hit 6.5% for the fiscal year ending March 2025. Unlike many countries that report on a calendar year basis, India's financial year runs from April to March, similar to the way some companies report their earnings. For context, last year, India's economy grew at an impressive 8.2%. So, while the 6.5% growth rate projected for the coming year still sounds strong, it's noticeably slower compared to the previous year. Still, when you compare this to neighboring China, India's growth rate is still on the faster side. While China has been facing economic challenges, India's economy remains one of the fastest growing in the world. This data underscores the ongoing strength of India's economy, even as global conditions shift and the growth rate slows slightly. Finally, let's understanding Trump's economic strategy: why tariffs, not sanctions. I recently came across a deeply insightful analysis in the Wall Street Journal that took me a while to digest. The article is quite complex, and I'm not sure how many of the readers here will fully grasp it, especially since political discussions often spark strong emotions. People tend to look for simple answers, like is America strong or weak, or is Trump effective? But behind these emotional questions, it's crucial to take a more objective, reasoned approach to understanding America's position in the world. The article, which is written from Trump's perspective, asks a critical question: how should Trump approach America's role in the world and its economic policies? To simplify the discussion, let's break it down to one basic question: can Trump make America dominate the world at will? This is not about Trump's personal ethics, but about America's global power. The article explores whether the US is still capable of using its strength to push around other countries like China, Russia, or Iran, and what tools the president has to maintain America's leadership. The Wall Street Journal gives us a look at Trump's mindset. It suggests that Trump doesn't view America's strength in simple terms of military or power plays. Instead, his focus is on maintaining America's economic power, especially the role of the US dollar. Trump believes that if America loses the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency, it's essentially losing the economic battle. This idea is at the core of his strategy. Why does Trump focus on tariffs instead of sanctions? Trump's trade war with China, his tariffs, and his stance on sanctions often confuse people. Some see tariffs as unnecessary or counterproductive, but the article explains that Trump's thinking isn't about being emotional or impulsive. He and his team are thinking long-term about America's financial security. Why does Trump focus on tariffs instead of going straight to sanctions? The answer is in the global impact of the US dollar. Trump sees tariffs as a way to assert pressure without risking the collapse of the financial system. Sanctions, like kicking countries out of the SWIFT system or banning them from using the US dollar, could push China and Russia into complete de-dollarization, which would weaken the global dominance of the dollar. If that happens, the US could face serious financial consequences. Instead, Trump uses tariffs because they allow him to exert pressure while maintaining the US dollar's position in the global market. For example, if Trump threatened 100% tariffs on China or Russia for trying to challenge the dollar, it would send a message without risking total financial chaos. It's a more controlled approach. The role of the dollar. The article delves deeper into this idea. Trump doesn't just worry about China and Russia, he's also concerned about global trends like countries accumulating more gold or Bitcoin as alternatives to the dollar. This shows a growing demand for alternatives, and Trump recognizes the threat. If the US loses its grip on the global financial system, America's power diminishes, which is why Trump focuses on defending the dollar's dominance. The trade-offs: deficit and debt. Trump's team knows that maintaining the dollar's reserve currency status requires the US to run trade deficits. In simple terms, the US needs to keep borrowing and spending to ensure that other countries continue holding dollars. This is a fundamental shift from countries like China, which are more focused on trade surpluses. Trump, however, understands that the US can't just pursue trade surpluses without risking the global standing of the dollar. This logic also means that Trump's approach to tariffs isn't just about getting a win on China or Russia, it's about managing long-term global financial stability. The tariffs are a tactical tool that keeps the dollar strong while not pushing other countries too far into a corner where they might abandon it altogether. Conclusion. So, why does Trump focus so heavily on tariffs? It's because he knows that the dollar's dominance is crucial to America's global power. The Wall Street Journal article explains that Trump's strategy is not just about quick wins, but about securing America's financial future. He understands the global economic system well and makes decisions based on a deep understanding of how it works. If we understand Trump's economic logic, why he values tariffs over sanctions, why the US needs trade deficits, and why he fights so hard to maintain the dollar's dominance, we can better understand the direction of US foreign policy. This also helps us better predict how future US-China relations will unfold. That's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more updates. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.